Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to check out yet another New Mexico state park. So here I am at Fenton Lake State Park. So I came from the town of Cuba. I wasn't really sure what the road conditions were going to be like. So I wanted to take the tracker here and just take it for a day trip. Check it out. I am so glad I did not bring my motorhome. Apparently I went the back way. It was great for the first 16 miles or so, and then the next 9 miles were dirt road, and not just dirt road, but at first it started as a rutted dirt road. That I can handle. Had to be a little, you figure out where your lines are. Then it became washboard. Okay, then it was rutted and washboard, and we're talking big ruts. So basically, if you're coming from the town of Cuba, which is northwest of the park, I do not recommend taking Road 126 from Cuba to Fenton Lake. Rather, I recommend coming up from the south to get to Fenton Lake, because that road that I took, I would definitely not recommend it for anyone. At first I was like, well, maybe my motorhome could make it part of the way. Then I was like, well, maybe vans could make it. In the end, unless you have a really high clearance truck, the tracker was struggling on it as well. And so I do not recommend that way. Now granted, it does not get maintained during the winter months, and it is April right now, so we're still technically in winter months. So keep that in mind. Maybe they improve the road for the summer months, but as of right now, I don't recommend that direction. Again, just come from the south. It's all paved from the south, makes it super, super easy. But the way I took, it will take years off your life as well as years off your motorhome or vehicle's life. So don't recommend it. But here I am. I made it safely here. The drive was beautiful. It was very windy. You started off in some aspens, and then you went up to some pine trees, and it's beautifully forested up here. So it is a gorgeous area, and one that I can already see myself coming back to again and again. So yeah, let's just take a quick look around the campground. Only a few of the sites are open right now, so we're gonna just walk back into the closed area of the campground and just take a quick look at that. So come on along, guys. So walking through the campground right now, my first impression is it is beautiful back here. There are large pine trees. All the sites are actually really spread out, so you don't feel like you're right on top of each other, which is super nice when it comes to camping, because I always like my solitude in camping, and the big campgrounds that you are just right next to each other, that drives me crazy. So this is a much, much better option. There are only 36 sites in this campground. At least 5 of them have electric. They might have water as well. But then there's a group site, and so then the other 30 sites are here in the campground, and they're just dry camping. Those are all reservation only, so keep that in mind. You have to make reservations for this. And in a previous video, I had mentioned in New Mexico, when you make reservations, the reservation fee is $4 for 1 night, $8 for 2 nights, and then $12 for 3 or more nights. So if you stay a full 14 days, you're still only paying a $12 transaction fee. So, but for 1 and 2 nights, $4 extra per night. It can get a little pricey, I guess, but still not too bad. So keep that in mind. But this campground is really quite nice. Now, some of the other amenities here at the park, they have vault toilets. They don't have flush toilets, but they do have the vault toilets. There is running water, and then there's also dumpsters, so for your trash and so forth. So those are just a couple of the amenities here at the park. They also have a playground for the kids, which is really nice. And in general, just a beautiful area to go play around with and just go explore in the wilderness. So, because this pine tree forest is gorgeous. Highly recommend it so far. But all in all, it's a beautiful area, and I can see myself coming back here many a times. I will not take the back road because that was the road from hell, but coming in on the paved road, not a problem at all. So one of the amenities that they do not have here is an RV dump station. So keep that in mind. You'll need to find another place to dump your RV tanks. But they do offer vault toilets. And so you can always use the restroom there and not fill up your tanks. So just one of those things you need to keep in mind. And of course, some other things that each campsite comes with are just kind of the things we take for granted. Fire ring, picnic table, flat place to park your vehicles. Not all the sites are going to be flat, but so far the majority of them are relatively flat. And I always think about those things with my RV because I need to have it level for the refrigerator. And so I don't think I'd have any problem at all finding a level spot in this campground. So, but again, you'll need to make reservations because these are reservation only. So keep that in mind. You do need to plan ahead a little bit. You can make reservations, I believe, up to 5 or 6 months in advance. So just something to consider. Now, whenever you come to state parks, I always like to learn about the flora and fauna in the area. So in this particular area, you're going to have deer, bear, you do have mountain lions. There's at least a presence of them, although they typically stay away from humans, so I wouldn't worry too much, but you do need to be aware of that. So hiking at dusk or dawn, not recommended, especially if you're running. So just kind of keep those things in mind that they have signage throughout the campground about mountain lions and bears. And so just be aware of those things. Don't let it scare you away, but you do need to be aware of these kind of things. But besides that, lots of birds, chipmunks, things like that, you know, little critters. You know, if I didn't mention before, all reservations are done through Reserve America. Basically, click on the campground you want to go to. Within that page, there is a key for hitting a reservation. You can do it that way. And so you just, again, go to reserveamerica.com. I called them the other day and they were very nice, very helpful. I had a bunch of questions for them and they answered all my questions and were very knowledgeable. I don't know if it was just the person I talked to or if they're normal, but this person, she dealt only with New Mexico. And so I thought that was kind of interesting. Makes it a very simple system if you do need to make a reservation. Now, one of the amenities that they do not have here at the park, besides the RV dump station, they do not have one of those. They also don't have showers. So if showers are a big thing for you, this is not the place that you're going to be able to find those. So just kind of keep that in mind, that is not one of the things that this one offers, although a lot of the state parks do. So you might just have to search around and see which ones do have showers, and I'll let you guys know on each of my reviews. Now back behind me is Fenton Lake. This is part of, obviously, Fenton Lake State Park, which is nestled in the Jemez Mountains here in New Mexico. It's part of the Rio Cibola River, and that flows out this way. There's a dam right here that I'm standing on. We're located at about 7,600 feet elevation, so in the winter it's gonna get cold here. In fact, they do have winter recreation opportunities such as cross-country skiing, ice fishing. No thank you, but some people love it, so, you know, we'll give them that. Just not for me. I grew up in Michigan, so we had ice fishing back there, but I'm good with the nice weather. So while we're here at the park, I want to tell you guys a little bit about some of the activities you can do while you're here. So on the lake here, the biggest thing around here is the fishing. They have rainbow trout and the German brown cutthroat trout that are both in this lake. I just met some people that were fishing right now, and they say they're getting a lot of bites, and I see them popping up in the water, so they're out there. So if you are into fishing, this is a great place for you to go. Some of the other things, if you're not into fishing, they do allow non-motorized boats on the water. So if you have an electric trolling motor, that's okay, but a kayak is fine, a stand-up paddleboard is fine. You can't actually swim in the lake, so keep that in mind. This is not a swimming lake, but you can use your non-motorized boats. Some of the other things you can do in the area, they do have equestrian areas around here, so there is a place that you can unload your horses if you have them. And then otherwise they have hikes and mountain bike trails in the area. I just did a real quick search and it looked like there was about maybe a half dozen, maybe 10 different trails that you could hit if you're mountain biking or hiking in this immediate area. And then as you go a little further out, it has more and more. So a lot of fun things to do here in the summertime or even in the spring, fall, and winter, just depending on snow load and so forth. And as I mentioned earlier, they do have cross-country skiing here. So if you want to do that, all the power to you. It would be a beautiful place because it's nice and nestled in the trees. Absolutely gorgeous here. So, one of the couple quick things that I want to mention to you guys as far as conveniences, cell signal is non-existent out here. They do have a couple locations throughout the park that they have Wi-Fi available. I didn't actually try to get on, but you have to go in and then you have to sign up. And I believe it's free for a little while, but then maybe you have to either re-up it or maybe you have to pay eventually. I'll try to find out more information about that. But keep that in mind that AT&T, Verizon, neither of them work up here, and so you will be without cell service. Now, you can drive 5 miles down the road and you will get cell service, so that is an option, but if you need it every day and every moment of the day, probably not the best place for you. For me, I like disconnecting, and so this would be a place that I would just go to disconnect for a week and not have be a big deal. A couple other things as far as conveniences. The groceries, make sure you get your groceries before you come up here because grocery store is at least an hour away, if not a little further. And so it's not super convenient for those kind of things, but just come up here prepared and you will be absolutely fine. So. Okay, since I was curious about the Wi-Fi, I went ahead and signed in using the free Wi-Fi sign right here. It takes you to a website, then basically you get 30 free minutes per day of Wi-Fi. You have to be in this particular location, and there are a couple of locations throughout the campground. But very, very simple. You have to watch a real quick video to whoever sponsors it. Right now it's Nissan who is sponsoring this. So you just have to watch a real quick video on that. But then you get 30 minutes of free Wi-Fi. And so not a bad option considering there is absolutely no cell service anywhere around here. It'd be enough to get out some emails and maybe a text message or two. But it's really nice to have that option up here, I have to say that. So guys, what did you think of Fenton Lake State Park here in New Mexico? Give it a thumbs up. I thought it was actually quite lovely. I really liked, it's a nice little body of water. It's not a big lake, but it's very quaint and just nice. If you're into fishing, it is a great place to go. Tons of people are out there fishing right now, hopefully catching stuff. They have rainbow trout and brown trout here. And again, if this is included in your annual pass, if you have the New Mexico State Parks annual camping pass, it's free. It is reservation only, keep that in mind. We already mentioned that. So you have to make a reservation. There is no walk-up sites here. So you need to make a reservation in advance, but it is very just beautiful. It's lush back here, lots of pine trees, beautiful, rock sections. So really, really highly recommend this area. Now, if you can't find a reservation in the campground, I was told by one of the rangers that we are surrounded by national forest, and so you can always go camp and disperse camp in the national forest and then come here to recreate. So keep that in mind. That is another option for you. Or if you're just waiting it out, if you have a reservation for a week from now, you can still come up here and camp in dispersed camping in the national forest as we always do. So that works out really, really well. So guys, I hope that you got something out of this video. I hope that you enjoyed the quick tour of Fenton Lake State Park. So what did you guys think? Would you ever come here, I guess is the first question. Or maybe have you guys been here in the past or any of the other state parks within New Mexico? If you have, please let us know what your thoughts are. Let us know which campgrounds you were at. If there are certain areas of New Mexico that you really highly recommend, we would love to hear that in the comments. But until next time, we're gonna sign off. Please subscribe to the channel, give us that big thumbs up, and we'll see you guys all down the road. Thanks, guys.